7 News.
Drumlines off Perth beaches are set to stay after a court challenge into the government's controversial catch and kill policy failed. Tracy Moran has been following the case in the city. And Tracy, why was the injunction denied?
Rick, the judge published his reasons. It's 36 pages all up. But what it essentially means is that the government acted lawfully when it moved to implement drumlines off the coast of Perth and the state's southwest to catch and kill large sharks. Environment group Sea Shepherd and the mother of a man killed by a great white, Sharon Burden, took the government to the Supreme Court. They say today's decision isn't the end. They'll take the fight to the Environmental Protection Agency, the Federal Environment Minister and to the Parliament.
I always taught Kyle, I raised Kyle to believe that if you firmly believe in something, an idea or a value, that you should pursue it. And you shouldn't just let it go because it seems difficult or even that you may not get the outcome that you were hoping for.
The government has welcomed today's decision. It says it followed proper and rigorous process to protect the public. Drumlines will remain in place until the end of April. Beyond that, approval is needed from the Federal Environment Minister soon.
Thanks, Alicia. Alicia Banner live from the Eyewitness News chopper. More breaking news now from the Supreme Court, where anti-shark cull activists have been fighting to have the state government's drumlines pulled from the ocean. Jamie Freestone joins us live. And Jamie, you've just heard conservationists have lost this round.
That's right, Kiara. The Sea Shepherd group was arguing that the exemptions the state government granted itself to go ahead with the shark kill policy were illegal because they weren't made public and they weren't put in the Gazette. But in his decision this afternoon, Justice James Edelman disagreed. He said it wasn't necessary to publish the information in the Gazette. Justice Edelman said that if the Sea Shepherd group's submission were correct, every licence and every permit would have to be gazetted, and that was not what was intended by Parliament. We've just briefly spoken with representatives of the Sea Shepherd group and with Sharon Burden, the mother of Kyle Burden, who was tragically taken by a great white off Bunker Bay. She was a party to this action. Those people obviously are disappointed with this afternoon's outcome, but they say their fight will go on. They say there are options still available to them to have the shark cull stopped, and those options include a review by the Environmental Protection Authority and perhaps going to the Federal Minister. The Greens say this is also an opportunity for legislative change. In court this afternoon, the State Solicitor's Office applied for $19,000 in costs. This will be argued against by the applicants, and they will be back before the courts to determine how much they have to pay in costs. Kiara?
Thank you, Jamie. Jamie Freestone there.
Have lost their legal battle to scrap drumlines. A judge has rejected their challenge and ruled that the baits can stay in the water.
If you're in a situation where a state government can just exempt itself from a law so easily, that disturbs me.
Sharon Burden, the mother of shark attack victim Kyle Burden, and Sea Shepherd failed in their bid to stop the drumline operation.
With a stroke of a pen, that protected species can easily be just killed off our coast.
Today, a judge dismissed the call for an injunction, ruling the state government followed the correct process in implementing the shark kill policy. Protesters had argued the exemptions the state government gave itself to kill protected sharks were unlawful because they hadn't been published in the Government Gazette, but the judge disagreed.
We thought we had a very good argument with regard to the validity of the exemptions that the state was operating under.
The state claimed the policy was part of an important public safety program after 7 fatal attacks in 3 years. Activists say the court action was worthwhile even though they lost, and the state's now seeking $19,000 in costs.
The legal advice was strong. We believe we were in a good chance, but we respect the judge's call on this.
The drumlines are due to be pulled up at the end of April anyway.
Give up their fight despite today's court loss. Matt Tinney, what are they planning next?
Tim, it's not over yet. This court fight focused on a legal technicality. Now protesters are looking to WA's Environmental Protection Authority. Within weeks, it'll decide whether the shark kill policy needs to undergo an environmental impact assessment. And if so, the EPA could order the government to take the baited hooks out of the water until that assessment is done. But for now, the 60 drumlines off Perth and the southwest remain. Tim.
The Supreme Court deals a blow to anti-shark kill campaigners.
It's disappointing that, with a stroke of a pen, that protected species can easily be just killed off our coast.
Warning shots, a tense standoff between Russian and Ukrainian troops. A strike set to close dozens of schools next month.
There's just nothing more than opportunism.
And Australia's National Gallery refuses to hand over allegedly stolen Indian artefacts. Good evening, James McHale with ABC News. Baited drumlines will remain in the ocean off the WA coast after the Supreme Court threw out an attempt to have the government's shark kill policy declared unlawful. But Sea Shepherd Australia and other activists say they're determined to keep fighting and will investigate other legal means of ending the program. Charlotte Hamlin was at the court hearing.
The question was whether the state government's shark mitigation policy, which involves baited drumlines being cast off Perth and southwest beaches, was legal, and Supreme Court Justice James Edelman found it was. The case focused on an exemption the state government had granted itself in order to carry out the program. That exemption hadn't been published in the Government Gazette, and Sea Shepherd argued that technicality made it illegal. The group applied for an injunction which would have seen the drumlines immediately pulled from the water and a judicial inquiry into the process. Now neither will go ahead. The loss is likely to cost Sea Shepherd up to $19,000 in court costs, but the group says the fight's not over. It's now pushing for a review by the Environmental Protection Authority.
So we'll continue to do whatever we can to ensure that our beaches are safer, that our oceans have this healthy marine environment that we rely on, us humans, us mammals rely on biodiversity in our oceans.
The state government has welcomed the findings, saying it's always maintained its process was valid. The drumlines will remain in the water until the end of April, when the trial period is up. But the state government says it'll continue with plans to extend the program into next summer.